This video chart presentation of JASO Holdings Company Limited. JA Solar is a NASDAQ global market stock trading our ticker JASO. Solar plays in general have just been having a tough time over the last year, so I scrolled this back to a 1-year chart. Many solar plays actually kind of resemble this. They tend to move together, or they've basically been in a pretty strong downtrend, but they catch these bounces every now and then. I looked at a few this morning, and they all kind of had this similar pattern, making a move to kick off 2012, trending sideways, and then just all kind of fell apart back again at the end of March. Obviously, these can be pretty fickle plays. News can really toss them lower or help them climb higher. But I thought it was interesting to note that they're back down near a bottom. So I thought I'd take a look at JASO, identify the bottom support, point out a couple resistance points. Interesting to note with the MACD, of course, basically sliding south since the middle of February. That actually should have been given some short-term hints that perhaps it was going to drop off as the MACD broke back down through zero. But in the longer perspective, it is still trying to make a higher low. Looks like it's trying to hold a baseline with the MACD again right through this area. So it's worth keeping on watch to see if it's going to break this short-term downtrend and try and keep the overall long-term uptrend. It is kind of a loose positive divergence. Price per share is dipping a little bit lower as the MACD is climbing a little bit higher. Coming off a pinch, roll back through here. You can see there was the first bounce off the pinch. BPO trend back towards zero, find another bottom. There's another bounce. Type of things that we always look for in bottom plays. Right now it's still in a pretty decent reversal position with the negative DI up on top of the positive DI. Money flow index still in bear chart territory, but 7 and 14 are starting to show a little bit of upward pressure. Accumulation distribution still just in a long-term downward pattern. You can see the channel. Again, in the grand scheme, I'd look for the top side of that channel to be broken. Shaky money flow also reflects that selling pressure has been pretty much dominant for the last year, perhaps making some slightly higher lows. That could be giving hints that selling pressure is starting to subside. CCI has worked its way back above negative 100. That's something that I like to see for a chart trying to come off the bottom. Full stow, still having a tough time moving above 50, staying pretty bearish. Play can't get much momentum in it. And the tricks, much like the MACD, it just moves a lot slower, trying to put together some sort of upward channel along those lines. So it looks like it becomes pretty important for it to hold this baseline, hold that bottom support of $1.21. RSI is not getting a ton from them, but still a little bit of momentum trying to come into the play, coming back out of oversold. As always, I want to see us move through 50 and start to trend above it to show some bullish momentum. Of course, the main thing, as I just mentioned, want to see that bottom support of $1.21 hold. In the more near term, it does come up near $1.30. Stock closed at $1.38 yesterday. 669,000 shares traded is not terrible volume, but I see if that's actually pretty low for the JASO chart. I'd certainly be looking for this $1.30 mark to hold. I'd look for a volume increase because it has some resistance in front of it right there around that $1.50 mark. Now it's almost a 10% climb from where it closed, so that's not a bad little initial upside to break through that resistance point. Then the area that becomes tough is right there around $1.65, $1.68. It was a near-term support level. 50-day moving average is in play there. In any chart trying to come off the bottom, of course, you want to see it move above that moving average. Beyond that, there's going to be a little bit more right there at $2, and that would be a starting point for the resistance to start to get pretty heavy, because for it to try and come back through this area, make some new 6-month highs, it's got to move through the 200-day, and that'll become a primary source of resistance. After that, you're not looking for more until up here over $3, and that is what I consider well down the road. What caught my eye about it is the near-term support level, the fact that it's back down on a bottom, and that the indicators are pushing towards some areas where they potentially could try and go bullish. So it puts JASO, as well as some of the other solar plays I looked at a critical point where they're trying to decide if they're going to define a bottom right here or not. Lots of lines thrown in here. I try not to make it too confusing, but the key levels I'd be looking at are $1.30, $1.20, $1.50, and then some secondary resistance points with the primary resistance coming in around $2.50. Solar plays certainly can have a fundamental and news-driven component to them. I try not to bring that into play too much when taking a look at these technical charts, but it is something I keep in mind as I look for the chart to hold supports and try and break resistance points. Those are the type of things that I see in the JASO chart, but as always, this is merely my interpretation. Thank you for watching and trade smart.